We often think of the fast as a physical mountain to climb. We measure the success of our day by the hours on the clock, the dryness of our throats, and the emptiness of our stomachs. We look at the 15 or 16 hours of restraint and we feel a sense of accomplishment, believing that every second of that hunger is being converted into a mountain of gold in our scales. But there is a terrifying reality in the unseen world that many of us never see until it is too late. There is a spiritual phenomenon that scholars have warned about for centuries, a black hole that can open up in the middle of your day and silently, instantly sack every single second of that reward into a void. You could spend 15 hours in the heat, your lips cracked from thirst and your head throbbing from a lack of caffeine, only to stand before Allah at iftar with absolutely nothing in your hands but a dry throat. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us an exacting detail that should haunt every believer. He said, "Many are the fasters who get nothing from their fast except hunger, and many are the ones who pray at night who get nothing from their prayer except wakefulness." How is this possible? How can the King of the universe, who is the most merciful, allow a servant to suffer for his sake and then give them zero reward? The answer lies in the spiritual physics of the tongue. In the realm of the unseen, a single word is not just a sound wave. It is a weight, a frequency, and sometimes a weapon of mass destruction for your own deeds. To understand how a word can delete a fast, we have to look at a chilling narration from the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. It was a day of intense heat, and 2 women were fasting. As the day progressed, they began to suffer so severely from hunger and thirst that they felt they were on the verge of death. They sent a message to the Prophet, peace be upon him, asking for permission to break their fast because they could no longer endure the pain. The Prophet, peace be upon him, sent them a bowl and gave a command that seemed impossible and strange. He told them to vomit into the bowl. When the first woman did so, she vomited a mixture of blood and fresh, raw pieces of flesh until she filled half the bowl. Then the second woman did the same, until the bowl was overflowing with blood and human meat. The people around were horrified. They had seen these women fasting all day. They hadn't touched a drop of water or a crumb of bread. Where did this meat come from? The Prophet, peace be upon him, explained the unseen reality. These 2 women fasted from what Allah made lawful for them, but they broke their fast on what Allah made forbidden for them. They sat together and began to eat the flesh of people through backbiting. This wasn't just a metaphor. In the spiritual world, when you speak ill of someone, you are physically consuming their identity and their honor. You are tearing pieces of flesh from their body. These women had spent 15 hours building a reward of gold, and in 5 minutes of gossip, they had turned that gold into rotting meat. They were physically full of the sin they had committed, and therefore their hunger for Allah was no longer accepted. In physics, a black hole is a point of such intense gravity that nothing, not even light, can escape it. In the world of the spirit, gossip and slander act as the gravity of the soul. When you fast, you are building light. Every subhanallah, every moment of patience, and every hour of hunger adds to the brightness of your record. But the moment you engage in a conversation where you belittle a brother, mock a sister, or reveal someone's secrets for the sake of entertainment, you create a black hole. The gravity of that sin is so heavy that it pulls in the light of your fast and annihilates it. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned us. Beware of backbiting, for backbiting is worse than adultery. Why? Because adultery is a sin between you and Allah is the most forgiving. But backbiting involves the rights of another human being. Until that person forgives you, your deleted rewards cannot be restored. Imagine the unseen ledger of your Ramadan. At 2 p.m., you have 10 hours of rewards. At 5 p.m., you say one sentence about your boss or your neighbor or a celebrity on your phone. Click. The ledger goes back to 0. You are still hungry. You still can't eat, but the reward account is empty. You are now just a person on a diet, not a person in worship. In our modern world, the black hole has moved from our mouths to our thumbs. We live in an era of instant deletion. You might be sitting in the masjid, waiting for the Asr prayer, and you open your phone. You see a post and you leave a comment that mocks someone. You share a meme that makes fun of a person's appearance or their mistakes. In the unseen world, the frequency of that digital text is just as powerful as the spoken word. Every share of a gossip-filled video is like inviting 100 people to help you eat the flesh of your brother. We are deleting 15 hours of fasting with a 5-second type. This is the shaitan's lantern in the digital age. Since he is chained and cannot stop you from fasting, he does the next best thing. He makes you ruin the fast you've already done. He doesn't want you to eat a sandwich. He wants you to say a word. Eating a sandwich is a mistake that can be made up. Deleting your reward through slander is a catastrophe that can follow you to the grave. There is a psychological reason why we are more prone to creating these black holes in Ramadan. When we are hungry and our blood sugar is low, our nafs becomes irritable. We are hangry. We look for someone to blame for our discomfort. We look for a distraction to take our mind off the hunger. Gossip is the ultimate distraction. It provides a hit of dopamine. It makes us feel superior to the person we are talking about. But this is the trap. The hunger is meant to soften your heart, not sharpen your tongue. If your hunger makes you more aggressive, more judgmental, and more prone to tearing people down, then your fast is failing its primary purpose. Taqwa. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "If one does not abandon falsehood and acting upon it, Allah has no need that he should abandon his food and his drink." Allah doesn't need your hunger. He is the Al-Ghani. The hunger is for you to prove that you can control your impulses. If you can control your stomach, but you cannot control your tongue, you have failed the test of the unseen. You have mastered the animal side of your nature, but you have let the demonic side of your nature run wild. So, how do we protect our 15 hours of pain from being deleted by one word? The Prophet, peace be upon him, gave us a security protocol for our speech. He said that if someone insults you or tries to argue with you or tries to pull you into a negative conversation, you should say, "I am fasting. I am fasting." This isn't just a reminder for the other person. It is a spiritual command to your own soul. You are telling your Quran. You are telling the black hole of your tongue, "I have worked too hard for these 15 hours to give them away to you for free. My reward is too expensive to trade for a 5-minute conversation." In the unseen world, this phrase acts as a shield of light. It closes the mouth of the black hole. It signals to the angels that you are not just fasting with your stomach, but you are fasting with your heart and your honor. If we do not learn to protect our rewards, we risk becoming what the Prophet, peace be upon him, called al-muflis. He asked his companions, "Do you know who the bankrupt one is?" They said, "It is the one who has no money." The Prophet, peace be upon him, corrected them. "The bankrupt one from my ummah is the one who comes on the day of judgment with prayers, fasting, and zakat. But he comes having insulted this person, slandered that person, consumed the wealth of this person, and shed the blood of that person. So his rewards will be given to them. And when his rewards run out before his debts are paid, their sins will be taken and cast upon him, and he will be thrown into the fire." Imagine the horror of that moment. You see the 30 days of Ramadan on your scale. You see the thousands of hours of hunger. And then, one by one, those hours are taken away and given to the people you gossiped about. You see your mountain of gold being handed over to your enemies because you couldn't keep a secret or keep your mouth shut. You end up going to Jahannam for the sins of the very people you hated. If you are reading this and you realize that you have already created black holes in your Ramadan, do not despair. One of the greatest names of Allah is Al-Jabbar, the mender. He can fix the broken records. The immediate stop, the moment you realize a conversation is turning into gossip. Stop, change the subject. Even if it is awkward, your reward is worth more than the politeness of a sinful conversation. The inverse deed, if you have spoken ill of someone, the unseen repair is to speak well of them. Mention their good qualities in the same circle where you mentioned their flaws. Make dua for them. This acts as a patch for the leak in your reward. The dhikr seal after every conversation. Make it a habit to say the kafarat al-majlis. This prayer is like a file recovery system for the spiritual damage done during a meeting. Ramadan is a high-stakes game. We are playing for the highest prize. Jannah. The 15 hours you spend fasting are the currency you are using to buy your palace. Do not be a foolish trader. Do not trade 15 hours of physical struggle for 5 seconds of social validation or a clever insult. The black hole is real. The consuming of flesh is real. The unseen world is watching every vibration of your vocal cords. This Ramadan, let your silence be as heavy as your hunger. Let your tongue be as dry as your throat. Fast with your whole being and protect your mountain of rewards with everything you have. When you break your fast tonight, ensure that you are breaking it on a date and water, and not on the honor and flesh of your fellow believer.